We thought it'd be important to incorporate kind of what fiber starts I've been doing for a long time, just to reiterate that message. Although we've been focusing on more innovative and newer applications while we've been here. Now, for a while, we've been promoting reduced fats as a nutritional aspect. What we've kind of found lately is that if we promote reduced oil, reduced fat as a cost savings strategy, it kind of helps generate interest in the product. This slide kind of goes over what Dale and Brock covered for us this morning. The residual protein from the raw material allows Citri-Fi to lipophilically bind the oil in different products. This is unique to fiber-based fat mimetics. Because the Citri-Fi molecules actually bind to the fat and oil, this helps lend some of the flavor delivery and texture that oil provides to different products. And of course, the enhanced cellular structure and the processing techniques that Brock described allows Citri-Fi to hold the water and the oil more tightly than comparable ingredients. And then holding the moisture in place improves the freshness of the product by inhibiting staling and giving it a more fresh mouthfeel of moisture. Right now, I'm doing reduced fat muffins, but I wanted to point out that fat reduction has also been successfully done in sauces and dressings, like we've seen already. Processed meats, like the fish sausages, and dairy products, like the sour cream. Below, I wanted to point out some of the more interesting applications that people use Citri-Fi to reduce fat in. Tortillas, nutritional bars, pizza crusts, icing and frosting, which I thought was interesting because they can get the texture right. Pie crusts and batter for different types of fried products. Well, I had a lot to do with writing the user's guide, so we thought for a long time about how to make recommendations and how to formulate with Citri-Fi when you're doing a reduced fat product. And really it comes down to these four things are the variables you need to adjust to make the final product correct. The Citri-Fi product is easy, particle size to match the texture of your product. And then if you can use co-processed products, and if you need that functionality, that's something to consider as well. The percent fat replacement. Right now we're going to demonstrate 50% fat replacement, but that's very ambitious for most applications. So I wrote down there, enjoy in moderation, because you can't try to do too much or think people will just not believe in the product. And they won't believe what you're telling them. The Citri-Fi to water ratio is another adjustment you can make. Obviously, the more Citri-Fi you have compared to water, the drier the product will be, and too much water can ruin the product quality as well. And then the fourth consideration is the method of incorporation into the formula. A lot of times this will be determined by what the manufacturer wants to do, but in general, we recommend pre-dispersing Citri-Fi in the largest amounts of dry ingredients possible. But in a lot of different applications, you have to disperse in oil as well, if there's not a lot of dry ingredients available. So here's the example formula of the muffins we will be making. Citri-Fi is used in a 1:7 ratio of water. So another way to say this is we replace 8 parts of oil with 7 parts of water and 1 part of Citri-Fi. We're using sunflower oil for the demonstration today, and we won't be using the blueberries. But as you can see, we're using the Citri-Fi 100 product, and 13 parts, or 13 kilos of extra water to replace half the oil. The procedure, the most important part is to pre-mix the Citri-Fi into the dry muffin mix. Then we're going to combine all the liquid ingredients, and then we're going to slowly mix the muffin mix into the liquid ingredients. And then I add the eggs and the oil and mix for 1 minute on low. And then to reiterate the point, why would anyone go through all this trouble? It's to reduce costs, and you can also improve the nutrition. And we found that you can maintain or improve the eating qualities with the reduced fat formula, especially when you compare it to other ingredients that people use to reduce the fat and oil in formulas. Here's a cost analysis. We use canola oil at 51.5 cents USD per pound. So the first column with the 7 on top of it, that is using 7 parts of water with 1 part of Citri-Fi, and that is what we'll be doing in our muffin mix. So the 27.2 is the amount, is the cost savings on your oil costs in the total formula. So when you're taking half the oil out and you adjust for the cost of Citri-Fi, you're saving 27.2% on that oil. If oil costs represented, for instance, 20% of your total formula cost, that would mean a 5.44% reduction in total formula cost. If you cannot replace 50% of the oil, as you will not be able to in a lot of applications, let's say you went for 25% of the oil, you divide it by 2, and it still represents a 2.61% reduction in formula cost. This is the example nutritional information from the computer programs in River Falls. So the reduced fat muffins will have 16% fewer calories, 36% fewer calories from fat, 38% less total fat, and 25% less saturated fat.
Nick, how's this?
Eating qualities, I have tried for yourself.
Okay.
We're going to go.
Laura prepared this demonstration for us right here. These 2 cups represent 100% of the oil. This cup in my hand will be the 50%, so that just shows you the cost of the oil reduction. The first thing I'm going to do is just mix the Citri-Fi in with the dry ingredients. Okay, now I'm going to mix all the liquid ingredients in the bowl. Water, eggs, and our 50% of sunflower oil. Okay, and then we'll just add the muffin mix into the bowl. And mix on low until everything's consistent. Laura's going to scrape the side and remix. This is the finished product. It's good. It's good. Okay, thank you.
Any questions to this? Pretty straightforward. Well, next presentation will be Dale, instead of our distributor from Thailand, who couldn't come due to visa.